that this may alert them to things to which otherwise they wouldn't have been alerted. When you say otherwise, who is to blame? We have gone out of our... No, we have not gone out of our way to apportion blame. It's a bit late and perhaps a bit pointless to say who is to blame when it's too late to do much about it. What we have said is that the important thing now for government is to try to remedy the condition of people who have suffered. You'll see what we say, for example, about financial compensation. Up to now, there's been up till a few years ago, there was a tendency to leave it to legal proceedings, to try to say whether somebody was negligent. I think we've taken the view that legal proceedings tend to ask the wrong question. Is somebody barred by the Limitation Act? Did somebody make a note of what happened at the time? Can any of the witnesses, if they're still alive, remember what happened? We say that what government ought to address is the needs of people, if those needs can be identified. And yes, please do.
I mean, given that nearly 5,000 people have been infected with hepatitis C, a quarter of those have also been infected with HIV, 2,000 people have died already, and I don't actually think that sufficient has been done to address that. So, to quantify that, if people are victims of crime, they are given compensation. These people, through no fault of their own, have been the victims of National Health Service treatment. And I just think that that might help kind of put us in some sort of...
If I may point out that all the questions asked so far underlie the strength of our first conclusion, which was that a public inquiry into this should have been held years ago.
Matt Barbet, 5 News. How much should that compensation be?
We hesitated to put a figure on it. I think it would have to be the result of negotiations between the government and the campaigners. If we put a figure on it, I fear that would be a starting point for the government to say, well, we start there and then we knock it down. It would have been inviting a lower figure than we would have chosen. So we said, as a guide, look to see what is being paid in Ireland. But we certainly wouldn't want the government to say, well, we'll complain.
Given that the government hasn't participated in this inquiry at all, and indeed didn't appear to want it in the first place, what do you think they will do now? Do you think they will respond to you and do what you want?
When I don't know the answer to the question, why does it say I don't know the answer? I think it is a matter for the government. I think there will be a lot of public feeling they should respond in some way. But I don't think I would want to tempt Providence any further than that.
Have you had any indications at all that they might be responsive?
No. As I said, they have assisted in certain ways, but they haven't indicated what their reaction would be. And in fairness, they couldn't very well say what their reaction would be until they've seen the report.
Any others?
I've got a question regarding if a lot of survivors and their families have expressed the desire for someone to just say sorry, some apologies here. Is that one of your recommendations? And who does someone need to say sorry here, and who should that be?
We haven't specifically included it among the recommendations. Look, we believe, don't we, in transparency. We haven't been in total agreement among ourselves. It is about the only matter on which there was any disagreement, I think, and we talked it through. There is a feeling that apologies are easy to make, and we've had a lot of them in different places recently, and that they may not mean very much. There are others who said, well, at least it would recognise that people have suffered. it doesn't necessarily have to be construed as an admission that it was the government's fault. If you tread on somebody's foot on a crowded train, it may not be your fault, but at least you say sorry. And I think probably it would help to achieve closure and help to alleviate feelings a bit if there was some kind of apology.
If by way of a variation I can add a supplementary answer to the question from the Guardian, we have no power to force the government to do anything. What we can do is to document the case for action. And we hope we've done that to the best of our ability and compromising.
Any more?
Arthur Butler, freelance. Can Lord Archer say whether he thinks it was unwise and very unhelpful for the Department of Health to refuse to give evidence to the inquiry?
I'm bound to say in any questions on which I've ever been involved, if someone is giving evidence about it, I have wanted to give evidence too. I would like to say anything that could be said on my own behalf. And I'm surprised that the department didn't take the same view. Whether it would have helped, I don't know, because I can only guess what they would have said. But I am surprised because there are things that the government could have said in mitigation. They could have said, well, a lot of things that were now complained about weren't known at the time. The other thing is that the present government might have said, well, it was some other government's fault. Nobody has done that either. I think we might have learned something if they had chosen to give it. And I'm a little surprised that they didn't.
Why did they say they wouldn't?
They said that an inquiry wasn't necessary. Anything that could be known about it was known already. And since it wasn't necessary, they didn't want anything to do with it.
Thank you.
I understand that you're clearly saying you're not apportioning the blame. The very fact that, following on from that point, that we haven't had public inquiries till now, and there have been ongoing problems with the blood products and transfusion, do you feel that there is any blame to be apportioned in terms of the fact that lessons could have been learned significantly earlier had everybody stood up and sort of held themselves to account?
The answer to that is yes.
I mean, such as the BCJD and all the others.
Yes, the matter is not closed because we are discovering viruses now that no one knew existed. So we could have learned all sorts of lessons.
And could have had a system in place that might have been better suited to cope.
I think the answer is yes.
No question here, but...
Marketing Press Association.
Yeah, right,
Just to recap, you basically say that if action had been taken earlier, we would require a public inquiry. We wouldn't have the current new problem coming up between resolutions and
Again, when something hasn't happened, it's very difficult to guess what might have eventuated if it had happened. But I think your first point of your question is probably right, that certain things which overtook us unexpectedly at a later date, and are still overtaking us, might have been foreseen and might have been avoided.